Now you're welcome back. This is the material I'm going to use. I'm going to use this Ankara fabric and this net. So this Ankara is 4 yards and I'm using 1 yard of nets. So the first thing to do here, I'm going to open this Ankara fabric. I will open it. I will take the measurement from the length, which is 54. Then I will add 2 inches to it to be 56. So here I'm going to mark out 56 in 2 places. This is one piece and this is another one. So it's going to be in 2 pieces like that. So now I will cut it out. So this is the one piece from the 2 pieces. So that's the closing side and this is the open side. So I'm working with the front part first. So now I'll take my tape from the shoulder here to the nipple side, which is 9 inches, and the underbust, which is 13, and the normal waist, which is 16. Then I add 1 inch to it to be 17. And the down side, that's the full length, which is 56. So now I'm marking it out, the bust, the underbust, and the waist. Now from this bust pan here, I will place my tape. The bust pan divided by 2, which is 8 divided by 2, which is 4 inches. Then I add 1 inch to it to be 4.5. So now I'm marking it 4.5 for the bust. On the bust also, I mark out 4.5. And the waistline, which is also 4.5. Now I go ahead and take my ruler and connect it. So I'm trying to connect the line now. Now for the down side, I will take my tape, I will mark out 7.5. You know the fabric is unfold, so depending on how you want it to be wide, but mine is 7.5. By opening it, it's going to give me 15 inches. Now from this waistline here, I'm going to connect it to the down side. So after this, now I will now be taking the vertical measurements. So I place my tape to the neckline. So the shoulder is 15 inches divided by 2, that is 7.5. which I'm marking it out. So that's 7.5. Then from the neckline, the width is 3.5. So I mark out the 3.5 here. Then I I slanted it with 1 inch. So that is shoulder slope. Now from here, from the shoulder, I come down by 4 inches because it's going to be in form of princess cuts. So that's why I come down by 4 inches. Then from this bust line here, I'm going to connect it to that 4 inches. Now from the neckline, I mark out 3.5 width by 5.5 depth. So now I have to connect the line. Now from this side, I come up by 1 inch. Then I'm trying to curve it out. So I'm covering the neck. So that's the neckline. So now I will go ahead and cut it out. Actually, I'm working with the full length gown, so I have to draw it so that now this is the front, center front. Now I'm going to cut out the side front now. So I make sure that I place the center front and I make sure all the line is aligned. And I'm trying to adjust it so that the downside will be equal. The downside here is 7.5. If I open it, is 15 inches. So now I'm going to mark out like 14 inches for the side front. Actually, it's depending on how you want it to be wide, but I'm marking 14 inches there. So now I will now place it, the front. I make sure I place it, everything is aligned. So I'm trying to achieve that side. So at this level now, after making everything to be aligned, I will be taking the measurements now. Now from the shoulder to this post line is 8.5. That is the armhole side. So I will now connect it. So I'm trying to curve it, cover the armhole side. Now the cutter of the bust I'm working with is 36. So 36 divided by 4, that is 9 inches. Then with half inches for joining joining that front side, and the 2 inches for the seam allowance, so that is 2.5. And also the under bust, that is 34. So I'm marking out the cutter of 34 plus 2 inches seam allowance, and also the waist. From that waistline now I'm going to connect it to that downside where I've already marked, which is 14. So I will connect it to that side. So this is it for the front. Now I'll be cutting it out. So after cutting this, so I'm going to use this front piece to cut out the back piece now, and also the side front to cut out another 2 for the back. So this is the back piece, and this is the front piece. I place it on the back piece, and this is the zip allowance that I've marked it out 2 inches, or it can be 1.5. So this is zip allowance. Now I'm just trying to shape out the front piece. Now for the neckline, the back neckline, I mark out 3.5 width and the 1.5 depth, and I'm trying to shape the front with the back. I will cut it exactly the way the front is. So I'll cut out the neckline for the back, and I'm starting the shoulder. So I'm tracing it out. So I'll cut it out exactly. Now I'm through with the front piece. So I'm going to cut out the center front, the side, the 2 sides. I'm going to use that front side to cut out the back side. So I'll just place it on top like that. So I'm trying to make sure that everything is equal length. So I place one aside and I'm using one piece to cut out the remaining two. So now I'll be cutting it out. So I'll go ahead and cut it to the downside. So this is the back piece. Now for the front piece, because it's going to have a slit in the neckline, just little slit like that. So I mark out 4 inches. So I'm going to slit that side because I'm going to place nets. So this is the net that I'm going to place on the front. So I already cut out and I've already shaped the pattern. So this net, and I placed it on the Ankara fabric, and now use that paper stay to make it to have at least stamina. So this is it. Now for the back piece also, so that's the net. You can also have nets on the back also. So this is the net for the back. I place the net on the Ankara fabric with the paper stay. So I'm going to stitch it like that. So I just place it and use it to turn it to the front. So this is it for the two back. Now this is another piece that I cut out like 2.5. So this is the piece, this is the channel that I cut out. I'm going to place this one on the joining parts in the front. You know, I'm working with the pieces, all this line. I'm going to use it to cover all the lines, both front and the back. So I just fold it into two like that, then I will stitch it and I use it to cover up that line. So I've already done this, look at it, for the one side of the back. So here, this is the front piece also that I've already placed the net, the neck net and the channel. Now I'm placing the back on the front piece. So this is the back piece that I've already placed the channel and the neck nets. So I'm trying to press it. So after giving it a good press, now I'll go ahead and join it. So now I'll place the back on the front. So this is the back side. I'm going to leave this like 18 or 20 inches for the zip allowance. Then I'll close the downside. So I'm taking it to the machine now and place the zip and close the downside. So this is the zip. As you can see, I've already inserted the zip. Now I'll go ahead and place the front on the back and hold the shoulder. I will join the shoulder to shoulder both front and back shoulder. I will join it together, then I will place the front to be taking the measurements. So now after joining the shoulder to shoulder, I will place my tape. So the bust measurement divided by 2, I will just mark it. The bust measurement is 18 divided by 2 is 36 divided by 2, that is 18. So I mark out 18. And also the waist, which is 34 divided by 2, that is 17. So I'll connect like that. From that side, I will just mark it. I will come out to the down side. Now this is it after joining it. So this is the outlook. You can see it. Then for the down side, I will just fold it like 1 inch. I will aim the down side. So if you find this tutorial helpful, don't forget to like, share and comment. For the sleeve, so that one will come up in the next class. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.